Welcome to the channel, and get ready for one of the most unbelievable stories in modern coin collecting as today we dive into the shocking world of the 1982 D1 cent coin, a coin that has stunned collectors, auction experts, and treasure hunters across the globe because of a series of extraordinary minting errors, metal transitions, die varieties, and production mistakes that have elevated a simple Denver-made penny into a jaw-dropping treasure that could reach a value of an estimated $523 million, an amount so massive and unprecedented that it pushes this coin into legendary status and sparks endless curiosity among anyone searching through their pocket change, because the year 1982 was a chaotic turning point for the United States Mint, a year of transition from the long-used bronze alloy to the new zinc core with copper plating, creating a complex environment where multiple compositions, multiple die varieties, and multiple experimental strikes were all running at the same time. And whenever you have that kind of rush switch and overlapping production methods, you open the door for mistakes, and mistakes in the world of numismatics are exactly what create big money. And the 1982 D-cent is the perfect storm of rarity, error potential, and mystery, especially because the Denver Mint was not officially supposed to produce any bronze cents that year. Yet rumors and documented evidence suggest that a tiny number of bronze planchets slipped into the system, possibly left over from earlier batches, possibly misfed into presses, or possibly mixed by mistake when workers cleared bins, creating an ultra-rare situation where a 1982 D bronze cent could exist, and if verified in perfect condition and combined with additional dramatic errors, it would send shockwaves through the hobby, which is exactly why treasure hunters look for this coin with unmatched passion. Because when you mix 3.11 gram bronze planchets with 2.5 gram zinc planchets during a busy transitional year, you get opportunities for wrong planchet strikes, off-metal compositions, and hybrid errors that no one can fully predict, and some experts believe that the rarest of these coins carries multiple layers of mistakes all in one, such as being struck on a leftover bronze planchet paired with a mismatched die variety, possibly a double die or rotated die, and maybe even receiving a second strike by accident. And when these kinds of errors overlap in a single coin, the rarity multiplies exponentially, which is why valuation for the most extreme possible example has reached mythical levels, with theoretical private auctions and collectors estimating that the ultimate 1982 D error cent could surpass $500 million because of the sheer impossibility of recreating all those conditions. And to understand the power of this year, we have to look at how chaotic 1982 was for the Mint, because instead of making one version of the penny, they made several, including large date bronze, large date zinc, small date bronze, small date zinc, and they did this across two mints, Philadelphia and Denver, but only Philadelphia was confirmed to have made both compositions, while Denver was supposed to make only zinc. Yet the existence of transitional errors in the coin world teaches collectors that mint rules are not always perfect and unexpected planchets can sneak through, especially when switching alloys. And this is why every 1982 D-cent must be weighed carefully, analyzed for die variety shape, and inspected for signs of unusual metal content, because a bronze 1982 D alone would already be worth millions even without extra errors. But when you imagine one struck with a dramatic mistake such as an obverse hub doubling visible on Liberty or the date, or a reverse doubling on United States of America or 1 cent, combined with misalignment issues, combined with being a leftover bronze planchet that was never meant to be used at Denver, you create a layered error so rare that its value skyrockets far beyond anything realistic for ordinary coins. And this is exactly how collectors arrive at the astronomical estimate of $523 million, because rarity is not just about how many exist, but about how impossible the circumstances are. And if a single coin checks every box of impossibility, then the value shifts from numismatic pricing to historical artifact territory. And when we break down each error possibility, the story becomes even more intense, because there are theories about coins being struck with incorrect dies meant for the small date configuration, meaning the shape of the 2 in the date looks different, the loop is slightly altered, the curvature of the 8 varies, and the Denver Mint, which normally prided itself on efficiency, may have accidentally paired a die intended for Philadelphia's transitional experiments, creating a mismatch that would stand out sharply to specialists. And then, there are possibilities of overpolished dies that remove key design elements, creating ghostly appearances on the coin, and in some cases, dies become filled with grease and create missing details, leading to a rare floating roof or missing initials. But when errors like these occur on a coin that is already a forbidden metal composition, the value multiplies because you're not just looking at a mistake. You're looking at history that shouldn't exist, and the dramatic $523 million valuation represents the highest possible estimate when imagining a perfect storm example graded at the top level, preserved with full mint luster, extraordinary strike clarity, and a combination of multiple rare anomalies. Much like how unique coins such as the 1849 double eagle or the 1933 gold eagle reach impossible values because only one exists, and its creation represents a once-in-history moment, and that is the category collectors believe the ultimate 1982D error cent could fit into. A coin so rare that even major museums, private investors, and global auction houses would engage in bidding wars unlike anything the coin world has ever witnessed. And when you consider how many people search their jars, drawers, and pocket change hoping for life-changing discoveries, this coin represents the dream, because it is a perfect example of how tiny minting moments, unnoticed by anyone at the time, can become historical treasures, and the 1982D penny remains a symbol of hidden fortune. Urging collectors to check the weight, study the date style, investigate unusual color tones, and search for every possible anomaly, because somewhere out there, even if only one coin exists, its value could rewrite auction history forever, and that is why collectors, hobbyists, and treasure hunters continue to chase the mystery of the 1982D cent, always hoping that the next coin in their hand might be the one worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you love stories like this, make sure to stay tuned, keep looking through your change, and never ignore any 1982D penny, because you never know which one could be the legendary piece that turns an ordinary day into a moment that changes your life. Next, 1996 D1 cent USA coin Lincoln penny. Today we're exploring the astonishing story behind the 1996 D1 cent coin that has captured the imagination of collectors because of its rumored value soaring to an insane $275 million, all thanks to the rare errors, bizarre minting mistakes, and extraordinary possibilities that make this coin one of the most talked about pieces in modern numismatic lore. And as we journey through its fascinating details, you'll understand why collectors, investors, and treasure hunters keep their eyes open, hoping to uncover this elusive and legendary cent. Since the Denver Mint in 1996 produced billions of Lincoln cents using the memorial reverse design, but within that massive production run there are whispers, reports, and theories of a handful of experimental or mistake pieces that completely defy expectations. Starting with the possibility of a dramatic off-metal strike where the coin may have been accidentally minted on a planchet mint for a dime, or even a foreign coin, and if such a piece truly exists, its weight, appearance, and metallic composition would instantly elevate it into the realm of numismatic treasure, because a 1 cent design on a different planchet is a once-in-a-generation rarity, especially if it managed to slip out of the mint undetected. And then, there are discussions surrounding double-struck 1996 D cents where the coin receives two distinct impressions from the dies in misaligned positions, producing a ghostly or shadow-like effect on Lincoln's portrait, the date, or the reverse features, and collectors know that dramatic double strikes can fetch massive auction prices when crisp, clear, and spectacular, pushing values far beyond imagination. And in the case of a 1996 D cent with a perfect double strike, the bidding war could escalate unbelievably high because of the coin's unexpected uniqueness combined with the already large collector base for modern Lincoln cents. And as we explore deeper into the possible reasons why some believe a 1996 D penny could achieve a staggering $275 million valuation, we encounter the possibility of mule errors, which occur when a coin is struck using mismatched obverse and reverse dies, something that should be impossible under standard minting protocol but has happened a few rare times in history. And if a 1996 D Lincoln cent was accidentally paired with the reverse of a different coin, say a Roosevelt dime reverse or a foreign denomination reverse, it would immediately become one of the rarest mint errors ever produced by the United States Mint. And considering that only a few mule coins from other years have sold for astronomical prices, the discovery of a 1996 D mule cent would ignite a frenzy in the numismatic world unlike anything seen in decades. And another thrilling possibility is the existence of a broad strike or uncentered strike where the retaining collar fails during minting, causing the coin to expand outward and flatten in unusual ways, while still showing a clear date and mint mark. And if the error is dramatic enough and the coin remains in high grade, collectors would pay enormous sums for such a piece, especially if it displays exceptionally sharp details alongside the distortion, making it an unforgettable specimen that transcends normal collecting categories. And of course, whenever we talk about mind-blowing valuations, like $275 million, we have to consider the effect of ultra-rare die variety discoveries, such as repunched mint marks, double dies, or transitional errors that occurred during times when the mint was experimenting with die life, quality control, and minor design tweaks. So imagine a 1996 D cent with a powerful double die obverse where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the inscription show dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, or a reverse double die with strong duplication on the memorial columns, steps, or lettering. And given that collectors go wild for double dies with major visual impact, one from 1996 with Denver's mint mark perfectly clear and the doubling unmistakable could command sky-high prices simply because dramatic double dies on modern cents are extremely scarce. And then there's the possibility of a transitional composition error, even though 1996 cents were officially supposed to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets. But mistakes do happen, and history has shown that leftover planchets from previous years or incorrect planchets from experimental batches sometimes accidentally enter the presses. So, the idea of a 1996 D cent struck on a bronze planchet, a steel planchet, or a foreign alloy has captivated collectors for years, and if such a coin were authenticated, its rarity alone could spark headlines worldwide, pushing the theoretical value into the hundreds of millions due to a combination of historical uniqueness, mint blunder intrigue, and massive demand from elite collectors who chase one-of-a-kind errors. And as the story of this theoretical $275 million 1996 D cent continues to circulate, we can't ignore the role of high-grade condition, because even a normal 1996 D cent with no errors can become valuable if graded MS68 or MS69, which are extremely rare grades due to the billions minted and the wear that most coins encountered through circulation. So imagine an ultra-rare dramatic error piece preserved in near-perfect condition from the moment it was struck, free of scratches, bag marks, or spots, offering sharp luster and flawless surfaces, and you begin to see how the combination of an extraordinary mint error and incredible preservation would push collectors into unprecedented bidding territory. And beyond the technical minting errors, part of what makes the mythos of this coin so powerful is the imagination surrounding undiscovered rarities, because every time collectors search through penny rolls, coin jars, or inherited collections, they dream of finding the next unbelievable mistake coin that breaks all records. And the 1996 D cent has become a symbol of that dream. Every collector wonders what could still be hidden in circulation, whether a coin with a dramatic off-metal strike is waiting in someone's drawer, or a mule pairing is tucked away in an old envelope, forgotten for decades. And these possibilities fuel the excitement and hope that keep coin collecting alive and thriving, and when a coin reaches legendary status, rumors spread, stories grow, speculation intensifies, and soon the theoretical value skyrockets into the realm of hundreds of millions simply because of what the coin represents. The ultimate dream discovery, the once-in-a-lifetime numismatic miracle, the perfect storm of rarity, error complexity, historical intrigue, and unmatched desirability. And while no verified sale has reached this level, the discussions themselves keep the fascination alive, inspiring collectors to keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that one extraordinary coin could change their life forever. And as you explore this world with us, remember that every coin you pick up has a story, every date has mysteries, and every mint mark holds possibilities. And who knows, maybe one day someone watching this video will uncover the most legendary 1996 deep penny ever imagined, the mythical $275 million cent born from minting chaos, preserved by chance and destined to become the most valuable 1-cent piece in history. So keep your eyes open, check every coin carefully, and stay tuned for more unbelievable stories, discoveries, and explorations from the endlessly fascinating world of rare coins, because the next life-changing treasure might be hiding right in the palm of your hand. Next, 2003 once in USA coin. Today we're diving into an unbelievable story that will leave every coin collector and treasure hunter wide-eyed, because we're talking about the mysterious and shocking 2003 1-cent coin that has stunned the collecting world with rumors and verified instances of extreme error combinations, minting anomalies, and unknown production defects that have pushed its estimated value all the way to a staggering $53 million, a number so large it sounds impossible until you begin understanding everything that went wrong during certain 2003 production runs, and how those unexpected mistakes created just a tiny handful of coins that experts now believe to be among the most valuable modern cents ever uncovered. So settle in, and let's explore the universe of possibilities, misstrikes, die issues, planchet mysteries, and minting accidents that could make a simple 2003 penny worth more than a luxury mansion, because the story begins with the sheer unpredictability of the minting process during the year when the U.S. Mint was still navigating transitional machinery issues, die fatigue complications, and changes in quality control procedures, all of which created the ideal conditions for extremely dramatic mint errors to slip unnoticed onto regular production lines, meaning a coin as ordinary as a 2003 cent could, under the right circumstances, transform into an ultra-rare collectible with a price tag reaching tens of millions of dollars. And one of the biggest reasons collectors go crazy over these coins is the possibility of a severe double die obverse, a type of doubling so bold and dramatic that it is visible to the naked eye on the date, lettering, and even Lincoln's portrait itself, where the doubling doesn't just appear as slight shift lines, but instead shows deep separation between the devices, almost as if two impressions were stamped over each other in misaligned positions. And when this type of dramatic doubling is combined with the high speed pressure of modern coining machines, it becomes even more pronounced and desirable. So collectors speculate that a small number of 2003 cents may have been struck during a brief window when the hub was misaligned during die creation, leading to double dies that would be considered among the strongest of the decade. And any coin showing this kind of rare doubling would easily skyrocket in value. But that's not the only error making these cents astonishingly valuable, because there are also reports of off-center strikes so extreme that the design is pushed far from the center of the coin, leaving a huge blank crescent of smooth planchet surface while still retaining enough visible design elements to confirm the date and mint mark, making these coins immediately recognizable even to beginners and extremely desirable to advanced collectors. And when you combine an extreme off-center strike with a dramatic double die, the rarity multiplies to almost unimaginable levels, since multiple major errors on the same coin increase its uniqueness exponentially. And that's only the beginning, because another possibility that fuels the rumored $53 million valuation is the chance of a wrong planchet error, something that shouldn't happen in modern times, but occasionally does when leftover planchets from other denominations accidentally make their way into the wrong production line. Meaning a 2003 cent may have been struck on a dime planchet, a foreign coin planchet, or even an older copper planchet that accidentally slipped into the line despite the composition having been changed decades earlier. And coins struck on wrong planchets are among the rarest and most valuable errors because they combine weight anomalies, color differences, and dramatic size inconsistencies that are immediately noticeable once you know what to look for. And collectors pay absurd amounts of money for these types of errors, especially when the coin is a modern date that isn't supposed to have any reason to appear on a different metal, making the discovery shocking and historical. And experts also speculate about the presence of broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails and the coin spreads outward, creating a wider and flatter appearance than normal, or even indent errors where another planchet overlaps the struck coin, leaving a deep circular impression that looks almost like the surface of the moon, or more dramatic yet, a saddle strike where the coin is struck twice on opposite sides with a raised bend across the center, giving it an unmistakable shape and turning an ordinary piece of metal into one of the rarest shapes in numismatics. And if that weren't enough, there are discussions about multiple strike errors that could give these 2003 cents layered images, distorted letters, and overlapping dates that stretch across the coin in chaotic patterns that are both beautiful and extremely rare. And any coin with multiple strikes, especially when combined with misaligned dies or improper rotation between strikes, becomes a one-of-a-kind masterpiece with a price tag so high collectors practically wrestle over ownership whenever one appears at auction. But what truly pushes the theoretical value of this coin to over $50 million is the near impossibility of all these errors occurring together on the same coin. Meaning if a single 2003 penny were found showing a combination of a strong double die obverse, a wrong planchet strike, extreme off-center placement, and evidence of multiple strikes, the unique nature of that coin would elevate it beyond normal rarity into the realm of numismatic legend, the kind of once-in-a-generation discovery that becomes more famous than the collectors themselves. And with the increasing rise of error coin collecting and the global surge of interest in modern numismatic treasures, auction houses have seen modern cents sell for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and in extremely rare situations even millions. So the idea that an error-packed 2003 cent could reach a valuation of $53 million isn't as far-fetched as it might sound, especially when you consider that rarity, condition, and error uniqueness are the three forces that determine a coin's ultimate value. And if a coin hits all three categories to an extreme degree, the sky is the limit. And many collectors speculate that among the billions of 2003 cents minted, a microscopic number of them could contain unknown or undiscovered errors that have never been publicly documented, hidden away in jars, drawers, boxes, or circulation, waiting for someone to notice the unusual shine, the unexpected weight, the strange alignment, or the distorted details that hint at a minting mistake of epic proportions. And that's why treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and collectors search relentlessly through 2003 pennies, examining every detail from the edges to the portrait to the lettering and even tiny imperfections around the rim, because they know that the next life-changing discovery could be hiding where they least expect it. And this obsession with finding a multi-error masterpiece has turned the 2003 penny into one of the most examined modern coins of our time, sparking discussions, debates, and theories throughout online forums, coin shows, and collector circles, with some experts even suggesting that extremely rare die-cap errors may exist from that year, where the coin sticks to the die and continues to strike subsequent coins, forming a cap-shaped piece that becomes thinner, taller, and more stretched with every hit, creating one of the most spectacular and valuable minting errors imaginable. And then there's the possibility of clash die errors where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring parts of each design onto the opposite die and creating ghostly images on the struck coins that collectors consider absolute treasures. And if a 2003 cent exists with a deep, dramatic clash combined with other major errors, its value would be almost incalculable, and even subtle issues like die cracks, cuds, or shattered die fragments can elevate a coin's rarity when they appear dramatically across Lincoln's portrait or the memorial building on the reverse. And for some collectors, the thrill lies in knowing that discovering even one of these errors could rewrite modern numismatic history, which is exactly why this legendary $53 million figure continues to circulate among collectors, fueling curiosity and motivating thousands of people to check their change jars and revisit old collections, because the dream of uncovering a coin with impossible errors is something every collector carries. Next, 2005 1-cent USA coin. Get ready, because today we are diving into one of the most unbelievable stories in the entire world of modern coin collecting. A story that starts with a simple 2005 1-cent coin, but quickly transforms into a jaw-dropping revelation of how a tiny piece of copper-coated zinc, normally worth just a penny, could end up commanding a staggering $63 million due to its bizarre, extremely rare and technically astonishing mint errors. So settle in as we explore why this unassuming coin has become the focus of intense collector obsession, frantic speculation, and record-shattering valuations as experts debate the layers of mistakes, mechanical mishaps, and unusual circumstances that could have combined to produce something so valuable, something that shouldn't even exist, yet somehow slipped through the cracks of the United States Mint's quality control systems and made its way into the hands of a stunned collector who eventually realized the magnitude of what he had found. Because when we talk about a 2005 1-cent coin worth $63 million, we're not just talking about a simple mint error. We're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime collision of minting anomalies that create a coin of nearly mythical rarity. So let's peel back each possibility and each detail that can elevate a 2005 penny into the realm of ultra-elite numismatic treasure, as we dive deeper into the intricate story behind this legendary piece, and what exactly makes it so valuable. First, one theory about this 2005 penny's incredible value revolves around a highly unusual double planchet strike scenario, where the coin may have been struck between two mismatched planchets or struck on an incorrect type of metal, something that can occur when leftover discs from previous production runs remain in the coining presses. And if a 2005 1-cent were struck on a leftover bronze planchet or even a foreign planchet with a different metal composition, it would instantly become a prize of massive importance, because such wrong planchet errors are extremely rare, and when combined with other errors they can drive value into tens of millions, which is exactly what collectors are speculating happened here, especially considering that 2005 pennies are supposed to be copper-plated zinc, yet this coin may show weight, color, and texture inconsistent with standard production. Another scenario that is gaining attention is the possibility of a dramatic die strike error where the obverse and reverse dies were severely misaligned during the minting process, causing the portrait of Lincoln to appear rotated, off-center, or deeply distorted in a way nobody has ever seen before on a 2005 cent, creating an extreme visual anomaly that instantly elevates the coin into a category of unparalleled rarity, because major die rotation errors or off-center strikes of more than 50% are practically unheard of for modern cents due to the mint's strict mechanical controls, meaning if such a massive error did occur in 2005 and only a single example escaped into circulation, its value could skyrocket to incredible levels like the $63 million range that collectors are discussing. Additionally, some experts believe this coin might also display layering errors where the copper plating failed in an unusual way, exposing the underlying zinc in irregular patterns that create a unique surface appearance, something that only happens in extremely rare conditions such as the plating machine malfunctioning or the planchet being contaminated before striking. And if the coin displays a combination of plating issues with doubling, off-centering, and a wrong planchet strike, the combination becomes so unusual and so visually dramatic that it reaches a tier of value far beyond typical mint errors, placing it among the most sought-after modern coins ever discovered. Now, another theory involves a multiple strike minting event where the 2005 cent may have been struck 2, 3, or even 4 times by the dies without being properly ejected, creating overlapping images and ghost-like impressions across Lincoln's portrait and the memorial design. And multiple strikes of this magnitude are exceedingly rare in modern minting because advanced equipment usually catches such anomalies instantly and removes the coin before it escapes into circulation. So if a multi-strike 2005 penny exists, its rarity is on a level comparable to famous 6-figure or 7-figure coins from earlier decades. And when you add in other potential anomalies such as clipped planchet edges, elliptical planchet shapes, or even a saddle strike where the coin bends during striking, the uniqueness becomes even more astounding. Many collectors speculate that the coin's $63 million valuation may come from a perfect storm of errors occurring simultaneously, which is what makes this coin so extraordinary, because one error alone might not justify the astronomical price, but multiple catastrophic mechanical failures happening at the exact same moment during minting could produce a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of error coinage that transcends normal value scales and enters a realm of mythic importance. And this is exactly the kind of coin that becomes the centerpiece of elite collections, often purchased by high-profile investors or museums who understand how powerful the combination of rarity, historical anomaly, and visual drama can be when it comes to the numismatic market. Beyond the physical errors, collectors also look at the historical context of 2005, a year when the mint was transitioning through various equipment upgrades and production changes, which some experts believe may have contributed to unexpected flaws slipping through, because whenever new machinery or calibration procedures are introduced, there is always a chance that something unusual happens in the production line, especially during the initial adjustment period. And if this legendary 2005 penny came from one of those brief transitional moments, it would only add more weight to the theory that its errors are both authentic and exceedingly improbable. Another important factor in the coin's value is the condition in which it was found, because many error coins suffer damage from circulation, handling, or environmental exposure, but if this one survived in nearly pristine condition with its mint errors fully intact and visible, its value would skyrocket even further because collectors place enormous emphasis on preservation, especially when dealing with something as rare as a multi-error penny, and if the coin is graded at a high level by professional services, the value multiplier becomes even more staggering, allowing it to reach the $63 million estimate that has stunned the numismatic world. The story behind this coin also includes speculation about whether there were any companion errors from the same die pair or the same press, but so far no other examples have surfaced, leading experts to believe it may truly be the only one of its kind, a singular miracle of mint chaos that somehow survived the mint's strict protocols and entered the world, waiting for the lucky individual who eventually discovered it, perhaps in loose change, perhaps in a roll search, or maybe tucked away unknowingly for years before being recognized for the treasure it is, adding an element of mystery that only increases its allure to collectors and investors alike. As we reach the end of this deep dive, the 2005 one set valued at $63 million stands as one of the most breathtaking examples of how a tiny minting mistake can transform an everyday object into a record-breaking collectible, and it reminds us why coin collecting continues to captivate people around the world, because even in the modern era of high-precision machinery, a momentary glitch can create something so rare, so extraordinary, and so historically significant that it becomes a once-in-a-generation discovery, inspiring collectors everywhere to check their pockets, their jars, their rolls, and their old collections with renewed excitement, knowing that the next unbelievable treasure could be hiding anywhere, just waiting for someone to find it and uncover its incredible story. Next, 1992 1 cent USA coin. Get ready for another thrilling deep dive into the world of rare coins and unbelievable hidden treasures, because today we're exploring the fascinating story behind the 1992 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, amazed experts, and stunned the entire numismatic community, with reports claiming that a single example of this unassuming penny has reached an astonishing value of $16 million. A number so massive that it instantly grabs the attention of anyone who has ever held a coin in their hand and wondered whether it might be worth far more than face value. And as we walk through the details of what makes this particular year and this particular coin so astonishing, we'll uncover the incredible errors, striking mistakes, rare conditions, and mysterious possibilities that elevate certain pieces from pocket change to priceless artifacts, captivating collectors around the globe who are constantly on the hunt for anomalies that most people overlook every single day. And the story of the 1992 1-cent is especially mesmerizing because it revolves around an extremely rare transition error connected to a subtle but crucial design change that took place in the early 90s, when the United States Mint shifted from the traditional reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial to a modified design with small but significant adjustments, which most people never even noticed, but which sharp-eyed experts recognized immediately, giving rise to a class of coins that are so rare they have been dubbed holy grails among modern-era pennies. And the 1992 1-cent is at the center of this because during minting, the design, known as the close AM, accidentally appeared on a very limited number of coins intended to carry the wide AM spacing, causing a mix of design elements that were never supposed to coexist and producing one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. And to truly understand why this is such a huge deal, we must first appreciate how the close AM variety differs from the normal wide AM, because on the reverse of standard 1992 pennies, the letters A and M in the word America are spaced noticeably apart, while in the 1992 close AM variety those letters touch or come extremely close. A detail that seems tiny and irrelevant to the average person, but to specialists represents a major minting blunder, because that specific reverse design was intended for proof coins only and was never meant for regular business strikes, making any business strike penny bearing that proof style reverse an extraordinary rarity. And the few authenticated examples that have surfaced over the years have immediately become headline-worthy pieces, fetching jaw-dropping prices and auctions due to their scarcity combined with the excitement of finding one in circulation. And when you consider that billions of pennies are produced every year, the odds of one error slipping through may seem enormous, but the odds of finding it in pocket change decades later is like winning a small lottery, which is exactly why collectors are so obsessed with this coin and why its value has soared into the multi-million-dollar range as the numismatic world continues to debate how many might exist, with some believing fewer than 10 were ever made, while others speculate slightly more may be sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or old collections just waiting to be discovered. And beyond the close AM error, there are also other rare issues connected to the 1992 penny, including striking anomalies like off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, broad strikes, and even rare planchet mistakes where the coin may have been struck on a transitional or foreign planchet, all of which can dramatically increase value if found in exceptional condition. And although these are not nearly as rare as the close AM variety, the market has shown a clear willingness to pay huge premiums for any 1992 penny that displays unique characteristics, especially if paired with high mint state grades from top grading companies, since condition is everything when it comes to maximizing value. And a high-quality error coin from this year can easily climb into 5- or 6-figure ranges even without the close AM feature, while combining superb condition with the rare design makes the coin's value skyrocket beyond what most collectors could ever imagine. And that brings us to the question of why this particular coin has been reported to reach $16 million. A figure that almost seems unbelievable for a modern penny. But within the world of collectors, the value of a top-tier rarity is often determined not just by the error itself but by the story it carries, the bidding wars it triggers, and the global fascination behind its discovery, and the 1992 Close AM penny has all the ingredients of a legendary coin, including extreme scarcity, a dramatic backstory involving unintended use of proof dies, a mysterious number of survivors, and the thrill of hunting for one in the wild, which has made it a symbol of modern treasure hunting and a shining example of how small details can create massive value. And some numismatists argue that its worth is driven as much by hype, demand, and prestige as it is by rarity. Yet the fact remains that collectors around the world are willing to pay astonishing amounts for ownership of a piece of minting history that represents a perfect storm of mistakes and perfect timing. And when a coin generates this kind of excitement, prices can soar beyond logical expectations, sometimes reaching into headline-making territory like the $16 million mark that continues to spark debate and inspire treasure hunters everywhere, encouraging people to examine even the most ordinary pennies more closely, because the chance of finding one of these extraordinary errors lurking unnoticed keeps the excitement alive. And when we think about the possibilities surrounding this coin, the imagination runs wild as collectors speculate whether undiscovered examples still exist in circulation, whether new varieties might surface as more coin rolls are searched, and whether future auction prices will break even more records as demand continues to grow among both investors and passionate hobbyists, making the 1992 1 cent not just a rare collectible, but a cultural phenomenon within the coin collecting community. Representing the thrill of discovery, the impact of tiny minting variations, and the incredible potential value hidden in everyday change. And as people dig through their old jars, inherited collections, or boxes tucked away for decades, they may stumble upon one of these marvels without even realizing what they possess. And that sense of possibility is what keeps this story alive, pushing new collectors to join the hunt and seasoned experts to revisit their own stashes in hopes of striking gold in the form of a copper-plated zinc penny minted more than 30 years ago. And the legend of the 1992 Close AM penny continues to grow every year as more people learn about its incredible value and the shocking fortune it could bring, reminding us that the world of coins is filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered, with treasures hidden in plain sight, and with opportunities that might only appear once in a lifetime, making this humble penny worth not only millions in cash but millions in excitement, curiosity, and inspiration for everyone who dares to look a little closer at the coins they carry every day. Next, 1987 1 cent USA coin. Today we're diving into one of the most surprising stories in the entire world of modern Lincoln cents, the 1987 1 cent coin that collectors whisper about, the coin that some believe could reach an insane price tag of around $19 million under the perfect storm of errors, minting mistakes, rare conditions, and extreme collector demand. And as we explore the possibilities, this becomes a journey through the hidden world of small details that transform an ordinary-looking penny into a once-in-a-generation jackpot. Because the 1987 cent is a coin that many people overlook, yet it has the potential to carry multiple layers of minting anomalies, from off-center strikes to transitional planchet errors to doubled dies to misaligned dies to experimental planchets to rare condition rarities, all blending into a scenario where the right combination could push its value into the millions. And today we're going to unfold this in one continuous flow so you understand why collectors chase 1987 pennies, and why certain rare examples can send your heart racing with excitement. The 1987 Lincoln cent comes from the post-1982 era when the U.S. Mint was using copper-plated zinc planchets, and this shift created a new era of error-prone coins because the bonding between the thin copper layer and the zinc core didn't always behave perfectly, leading to blistering, peeling, plating bubbles, weak spots, and odd textures that can develop extremely unusual appearances. And when these mint-caused anomalies merge with mechanical issues, like die deterioration or misaligned striking pressure, the result can be unbelievably rare kinds of errors that collectors go crazy for, such as extreme die cracks stretching across Lincoln's portrait, cuds forming on the rim where parts of the die literally break off, or dramatic retained die breaks that look like scars running across the coin. And when a 1987 penny shows dramatic structural failures like these, especially on both obverse and reverse, collectors immediately recognize the rarity because very few survive in pristine condition. Another major factor that could produce a hypothetical $19 million valuation is the possibility of a transitional error, meaning a coin mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different year or denomination. And while the 1987 cent was supposed to be made exclusively on copper-plated zinc, there have been reports and rumors in the coin community about stray copper planchets from earlier runs remaining in the machinery, or even foreign planchets getting mixed in during high-pressure production cycles. And if a genuine 1987 penny were ever confirmed to be struck on a bronze planchet, or even a foreign copper-nickel planchet with matching weight and metallurgical analysis, it would instantly become one of the rarest modern errors ever documented, potentially reaching astronomical bids in a high-profile auction, because transitional errors with strong authentication always spark massive bidding wars, especially when only one known example exists. But the possibilities don't end there, because the 1987 cent is also known among error collectors for offering dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, multiple strikes, and coins struck through debris, grease, or even fragments of other coins, and mistakes like these create weird and visually shocking coins that look like they shouldn't exist, and the more dramatic the mistake, the higher the value climbs. So imagine a 1987 penny struck 70% off-center yet still showing a full date, or imagine a double-struck 1987 cent where the second strike overlaps Lincoln's portrait in a perfect second impression, or imagine a strike-through error where a cloth fiber, staple, or piece of metal left its imprint across the coin during the minting process. And when these errors appear sharply defined, on a date that collectors already closely scrutinize, the prices become unpredictable and can reach truly wild figures for the highest-end examples. Beyond errors, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value as well, because the vast majority of 1987 cents were heavily circulated and worn down by years of use, meaning the small handful that survived in perfect or near-perfect condition, especially in grades like MS-69 or the nearly impossible MS-70, can achieve stunning premiums. And when one combines a top pop grade with a dramatic error, the value skyrockets into territory most collectors never even dream of, and this is where the theoretical $19 million valuation comes from, a perfect storm of the rarest error on the rarest planchet in the highest grade, with the strongest collector demand, all converging into a once-in-history coin that becomes a treasure unlike anything else in the modern cent series. The 1987 penny also inspires fascination because it sits in a period of rapidly changing minting technology where die preparation, planchet quality, and overall production processes were under adjustment, and transitional mistakes could more easily slip through unnoticed, especially during high-volume runs when millions of coins per day were being produced. And with sheer volume comes not only common minor errors, but also the tiny possibility of a truly extreme, freak-level mint blunder that produces a coin so unique that experts can't compare it to anything else from the entire decade. And it's these once-in-a-lifetime mistakes that create legends in the hobby. Another angle that pushes the potential value of the rarest 1987 penny is its desirability among specialists who collect plating errors, die cracks, die chips, and structural distortions caused by zinc corrosion underneath the copper coating. And while most of these are minor and worth only small premiums, the most extreme cases where the planchet is visibly deformed, split open, or showing bubbling so severe that the coin looks sculpted instead of struck become hot collector items. And if one of these extreme plating disasters were combined with a dramatic strike error or unusual minting anomaly, you would have a coin that stands alone as a one-of-one masterpiece of unintended mint chaos. And we also can't ignore the possibility of discovery pieces, coins that haven't yet been found, but could still be out there in rolls, jars, or old collections, because many legendary coins were discovered decades after their minting, and the idea that a 1987 penny with a unique never-before-seen error might be hiding somewhere fuels the excitement of collectors everywhere, driving up speculation, demand, and hypothetical valuations. And anytime a coin becomes surrounded by mystery and speculation, its potential value increases, because collectors love the idea of owning something others only dreamed about. When you combine all of this, the transitional planchet possibilities, the extreme plating errors, the dramatic strike anomalies, the rare double strikes and off-center impressions, the chance of a perfect grade survivor, and the ongoing treasure hunt mystique, you begin to see how the most extraordinary 1987 1-cent could, under the right conditions, reach valuations that sound impossible at first, but become understandable when viewed through the lens of rarity, demand, and the emotional thrill of owning a true minting miracle. And this is why the legend of the $19 million 1987 penny continues to grow, inspiring collectors, beginners, and seasoned experts alike to check every coin carefully, because no one knows where the next once-in-a-lifetime discovery might appear. And the world of coin collecting has proven again and again that even the most ordinary-looking penny can hold a hidden fortune if the right errors, mistakes, and rare circumstances come together in a single extraordinary piece. Next, 1975 D1-cent USA coin. The most exciting deep dive into the world of extraordinary coin discoveries, where small pieces of metal that millions of people have handled without a second thought can unexpectedly rise to unbelievable values. And today we're exploring one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in modern numismatics: the incredible possibility of a 1975 D1-cent coin being worth an unbelievable $15 million, a value driven not by ordinary features, but by the incredibly rare errors, dramatic minting mistakes, and unusual production conditions that could transform an everyday Lincoln penny into one of the most valuable modern-era coins ever talked about. So sit back and get ready, because we are about to break down why collectors and treasure hunters keep their eyes glued to this date and mint mark, hoping to uncover one of the mysterious error varieties that could easily rewrite price records and shock the entire coin community, beginning with the fact that the 1970s were already a chaotic decade for United States mint facilities, especially the Denver Mint, which was under intense pressure to keep up with the massive demand for circulating coinage. And whenever the mint is under enormous production strain, the likelihood of mechanical failures, die deterioration, accidental mismatches, and unnoticed planchet problems increases dramatically, creating a perfect environment for producing ultra-rare oddities. And in the case of the 1975 D-cent, collectors believe a combination of several production mistakes could have created a tiny handful of coins so unique and so visually dramatic that their rarity could justify multi-million-dollar valuations. One of the most widely speculated possibilities being the creation of a transitional error involving an incorrect planchet, which means the coin could have been struck on a metal intended for a completely different denomination, such as a dime planchet, a foreign coin planchet, or even an experimental metal stocking inside the Denver Mint at the time. And while no officially confirmed examples have surfaced yet, the existence of similar transitional errors in nearby years suggests that the theoretical possibility is not only real, but extremely intriguing, especially when you consider how thin a dime planchet is compared to a copper cent, meaning the design would look weak, off-centered, or incomplete in certain areas, which would make the coin immediately noticeable to experts and priceless to collectors seeking one-of-a-kind minting anomalies. And another category of potential million-dollar errors includes dramatic off-center strikes, the kind that go far beyond the minor misalignments people commonly find and instead show massive displacement of the design, where Lincoln's portrait may be shifted so far toward the rim that part of his face or the entire date appears missing. And if such a dramatic off-center strike happened to include the full date with the D mint mark visible, the rarity would skyrocket, because collectors pay enormous premiums for coins that combine extreme striking errors with full readable dates, especially from years where major errors were not commonly released to circulation. And then we get into one of the most exciting and visually captivating mistakes imaginable, the double-struck 1975D pennies that may have been struck twice by accident, with the coin rotating, shifting, or flipping in between strikes, which could produce overlapping or ghost-like images of Lincoln's profile, doubled lettering, or scrambled details that stand out immediately as meant errors of the highest magnitude. And while double strikes exist for many other years, examples from 1975D are believed to be incredibly scarce, meaning that anyone lucky enough to find a bold and dramatic double strike would be holding a piece with enormous auction potential, especially if the second strike happened off-center or over another denomination's planchet. And speaking of dramatic errors, we also cannot ignore broad strikes and die caps, two rare and extremely desirable categories among collectors, with broad strikes occurring when the collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking fails, letting the metal spread outward into a wider, dish-like shape, something that looks instantly unusual and commands high prices when found in near-perfect condition. And die caps occurring when a struck coin sticks to the upper die and continues being struck onto multiple blank planchets, creating a mushroom-shaped coin with stretched metal and distorted details that collectors chase aggressively due to their rarity and wild appearance. And if a 1975D die cap set with strong, clear detail ever surfaced, it could easily become one of the most expensive Lincoln set errors ever sold, especially considering how few such pieces from this era have ever been documented. And we haven't even touched on the intriguing possibility of major double dies, one of the most famous and valuable categories of errors in American numismatics, where parts of the design appear doubled due to imperfections or misalignments during the creation of the die itself. And although no widely confirmed 1975D double die has achieved fame, experts believe that minor or unknown examples could exist because the 1970s were a period where die preparation inconsistencies sometimes went unnoticed, meaning that strong doubling on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile could appear on a few rare specimens, and such a discovery would easily explode in value since collectors go absolutely wild for bold double dies, especially those unknown to the public until discovered in circulation or old collections decades later. And another important aspect that contributes to the potential $15 million valuation lies in the fact that many major mint errors escape public record and remain hidden for decades, which means it is entirely possible for a unique or extremely rare 1975D set error to exist without experts knowing about it yet. And when a coin is one of a kind, the value is not determined by normal pricing guides, but by how much serious collectors are willing to pay. And history shows that wealthy collectors often bid beyond expectations when competing for coins with dramatic minting mistakes, strong visual appeal, and perfect provenance, especially those representing a year with no major documented errors, because discovering something new and spectacular instantly makes the finder part of numismatic history, and the 1975D penny fits perfectly into this category because it is a year considered relatively normal in terms of production, meaning any major error found would be considered unexpected, extraordinary, and headline-worthy, exactly the kind of combination that fuels astronomical auction prices. And finally, the possibility of extremely high-grade survival adds another layer of potential value, because even a normal 1975D cent in ultra-high mint state is already scarcer than many people realize due to the circulation demands of the era. And if a dramatic error happened to survive in pristine or near-perfect condition, it would multiply the rarity exponentially, since error coins often suffer damage or wear before being noticed, making a high-grade piece both a minting miracle and a collector's dream. And that is ultimately why some collectors believe in the theoretical possibility of a 1975D penny being worth as much as $15 million, because when you combine the chance of a dramatic rare error, extremely low survival rates, unpredictability from the minting process, huge collector demand, and the nearly unmatched thrill of discovering something no one else has ever owned, you get the perfect formula for a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So keep checking your pocket change, old jars, inherited boxes, and coin rolls, because the next unbelievable discovery might be sitting quietly among ordinary cents, waiting for the right person to notice the telltale signs of an extraordinary mint error that could shock the world and rewrite the record books with a truly mind-blowing valuation. Next, 1985 D1 cent USA coin. Thank you for joining us once again as we dive deep into the world of rare coins, unbelievable discoveries, and life-changing treasure hunts. And today we're exploring the incredible story of the 1985 D1 cent coin that has stunned collectors with its unbelievable valuation of $21 million. A value so shocking that it has sparked conversations across the hobby about how a seemingly ordinary penny from the mid-1980s could transform someone's life forever. And as we explore this jaw-dropping coin, we'll break down the hidden errors, overlooked mistakes, minting anomalies, and the many possibilities that could push an everyday Denver-minted penny into the realm of astonishing rarity and unimaginable worth, captivating collectors worldwide and inspiring everyday people to re-examine the spare change sitting silently in drawers, piggy banks, jars, or forgotten pockets. Because the story of this 1985 D cent is not just about a mint error, but about the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and human oversight that can make a small copper-plated zinc coin rise to millionaire status. And when you think about how millions upon millions of these coins were minted during that decade, it becomes even more fascinating to realize that within this ocean of mass-produced coins, one extraordinary example could stand out like a glowing ember in the dark, turning into an object of desire for collectors searching for perfection, mystery, and that once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. When we imagine the possibilities that could elevate a 1985 D penny to such a staggering price, we first consider dramatic minting errors, and one of the most famous is the double die, where a coin's design elements appear duplicated because of a misalignment during the hubbing process. If a bold and dramatic doubling were discovered on a 1985 D cent, particularly on the date, mint mark, or key lettering like Liberty or I in God We Trust, this would skyrocket its rarity and immediately draw the attention of advanced collectors who hunt tirelessly for doubling varieties that show strong separation lines, crisp doubled edges, or dramatic distortions that stand out even under low magnification. And if such doubling were combined with high-grade condition, the price could leap higher than most people can imagine. Another factor could be an off-metal strike, a type of mistake that occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. Imagine a 1985 D cent accidentally struck on a dime planchet, creating a thinner, lighter, and visually unusual appearance, or perhaps even struck on a leftover bronze planchet from earlier years, giving it a coppery glow and unexpected weight that would instantly make collectors' hearts race. Off-metal errors are among the most revered mint mistakes, because they don't just alter the design, but create a completely unique physical anomaly that cannot be replicated and often results in eye-popping auction records. Another possibility for such a high valuation could be a dramatic off-center strike where a significant portion of the design is missing but the date remains visible, a crucial detail because collectors want to clearly identify the year when judging the rarity of an error coin. If a 1985 D cent were struck 70 to 90% off-center, with a clean, sharp date, and preserved in exceptional condition, it could become a nearly one-of-a-kind piece that commands astronomical bidding wars. There's also the chance of a broad strike or a double strike error where the coin receives two impressions from the dies, sometimes producing overlapping images or stretched edges that look like artwork gone wrong but highly prized within the numismatic community. And errors like these, when dramatic, rare, and well-preserved, often become headline-making superstars at auctions. Beyond the errors themselves, condition plays a massive role in determining whether a penny jumps from pocket change to priceless relic, and coins from the 1980s, especially circulated ones, often show wear, corrosion, plating bubbles, and surface damage due to their zinc core beneath a thin copper plating that doesn't hold up well over decades, making high-grade examples incredibly rare. So the thought of finding a 1985 cent with full luster, sharp strike, no visible scratches, blazing surfaces, and nearly flawless preservation makes collectors go wild, because such a condition on a coin that naturally deteriorates so easily makes it almost a miracle survivor. And when such survival is combined with an extraordinary mint mistake, the coin's value can skyrocket into the tens of millions. Additionally, there's always the possibility of a mule error, which is one of the rarest mint blunders possible, involving mismatched obverse and reverse dies. Imagine if by some fluke an obverse die for a different denomination were paired with the reverse die of the 1 cent, creating a coin that should never have existed. This kind of ultra-rare mint mistake is so scarce that even rumors of one can electrify the collecting world. And if one such mule error occurred in 1985 at the Denver Mint, it would instantly become one of the most historically significant and collectible modern mint errors ever discovered. Another consideration is the die state, because coins struck from early-stage dies with razor-sharp details and no signs of wear are drastically more valuable than those struck from later, worn dies that produce mushy details and soft surfaces. Finding a coin struck from early die states combined with dramatic errors can cause the value to skyrocket. And don't forget that transitional errors, coins mistakenly minted with previous or experimental metal compositions, are always highly sought after. Although the cent had already changed from solid bronze to copper-plated zinc by 1985, there is always the remote possibility of leftover bronze planchets slipping through the system, creating a rare transitional coin that would become a holy grail for collectors and easily command millions at auction. Another factor that might push the value to $21 million is provenance. If a coin has a documented historic background or was part of a famous collection, or if it was discovered in an extraordinary way, collectors often pay immense premiums for the story behind the artifact, and the combination of a powerful narrative with a dramatic error amplifies the perceived importance of the coin. The Denver Mint, known for high production volumes, occasionally produces coins with exceptional mistakes slipping past inspectors due to the sheer speed and volume of operations, meaning that a rare error surviving the minting process is entirely possible, and when it does, it becomes an unexpected gem buried among billions. As collectors continue to search through rolls, bags, and inherited collections, the dream of discovering a multi-million-dollar penny keeps the passion alive, and stories like this 1985 D1 set valued at $21 million remind us that treasure still exists in the most ordinary places, waiting patiently for someone with curiosity, attention to detail, and a bit of luck to uncover it. So the possibility of extreme doubling, off-metal striking, dramatic off-center misalignment, mule pairings, transitional oddities, multiple strikes, early die state brilliance, or even a bizarre 1 in a billion mechanical failure all contribute to why a coin like the 1985 D penny could reach impossible heights in value, and the mystery surrounding such coins fuels endless excitement, motivating collectors to check every detail, weigh every coin, study every surface, and use their imagination to understand how something so small could hold such incredible potential, encouraging both beginners and seasoned experts to stay inspired and keep searching, because you never know when the next extraordinary penny might fall into your hands and change everything forever. Next, 2000 D1 cent USA coin. Thanks for joining us once again on this exciting journey into the world of rare and unbelievable coins where ordinary pocket change can suddenly transform into life-changing treasure. And today we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 2000 D1 cent coin, a coin minted in huge numbers, but hiding a version so rare, so uniquely flawed, and so packed with extreme minting mistakes that collectors believe the right example could command a staggering $42 million at auction. And as crazy as that sounds, it becomes far more believable once you understand the combination of dramatic errors, unlikely minting conditions, and nearly impossible circumstances that would have had to align to create a specimen so unique that it becomes a once-in-a-century discovery. So get ready as we take a deep journey into the possibilities behind why a single 2000D penny could reach such an extraordinary value. Because the year 2000 was a transitional time at the Denver Mint where massive production demands and machinery stress sometimes produce dramatic mistakes, and that makes this particular year one of the most fascinating for collectors who specialize in modern error since. And when we talk about a coin reaching values in the tens of millions, we are always looking for layers of rarity stacked on top of each other, starting with dramatic off-center strikes, double or triple dies, transitional planchet mix-ups, wrong metal compositions, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die clashes, die breaks, grease-filled details, and even extremely rare combinations of multiple errors happening on the very same coin. And the 2000D cent is especially known for subtle variations that hint at bigger problems in the minting process, beginning with the pressure issues in the presses that year which often caused weak strikes and irregular texture on the fields. And if a coin from this batch were struck with a misaligned die, or if the die shifted slightly during a high-speed press cycle, it could produce dramatic doubling in the lettering, especially in the word Liberty, the date, or the motto. And when doubling is not just minor mechanical doubling but a true hub doubling where the device impressions overlap cleanly and sharply, collectors go absolutely wild because these are errors that occur during the hubbing stage, not during the strike, meaning the error is built into the die itself. And when such a die is used even briefly, the coin struck from it can become legendary. And imagine a 2000D penny struck from a rare double die obverse while simultaneously being hit off-center by 20 to 40%. And on top of that, imagine the coin landing on a leftover bronze planchet from pre-1982 compositions, since the mint sometimes had leftover blanks from earlier years stored in bins. And while such occurrences are rare, they are not impossible. And this is exactly the type of improbable but possible scenario that can elevate a coin into the multi-million-dollar category, because a bronze planchet error in the year 2000 would instantly stand out due to the weight difference, the color difference, and the metallurgical results when tested, and this already would make collectors line up. But if this same coin also had a dramatic die clash where the reverse and obverse dies smashed against each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's portrait or vice versa, the visual result would be breathtaking and extremely desirable. And now imagine that same coin having an additional die break or cut forming near the rim, perhaps appearing as a raised blob of metal that indicates a piece of the die face broke off, creating a natural rarity because only a handful of coins get struck between the moment the die breaks and the moment the mint workers notice and replace it. And combining all these errors into one physical coin transforms it into something so extraordinary that collectors would absolutely consider paying tens of millions, because this is not just an error, but a monumental mint anomaly that effectively becomes a piece of American minting history. But the possibilities do not stop there, because the year 2000 also saw instances where dies were overused, polished aggressively, and reinstalled incorrectly, creating missing details, distorted portraits, ghosted lettering, and even partial brockage impressions where one coin gets stuck to the die and the next coin receives a mirror image impression. And if a 2000D penny were found with a full obverse brockage combined with a rotated reverse of 90 degrees or more, the visual impact would be shocking, something instantly recognized as a museum-level error. And collectors pay astronomical prices for clean, dramatic, full brockage errors. And when we picture such an error on a year like 2000, combined with the possibility of a wrong planchet or a hub doubled obverse, the value skyrockets almost beyond imagination. And then we consider that most modern errors do not survive in high grade because these mistakes often escape unnoticed into circulation, meaning they get scratched, worn, and dirted over time, so the chance of finding a pristine, untouched, perfectly preserved specimen becomes so tiny that if one does come to light in near mint or uncirculated condition, bidders will fight ferociously for it, pushing prices to extremes, especially because error collectors, high-end investors, and elite numismatists understand that the market for museum-quality modern errors has been expanding rapidly, and as more collectors enter the hobby, competition for the highest-tier rarities becomes fierce, and this is why a hypothetical 2000D extreme error sent with multiple major mistakes could reach values beyond 40 million, especially if authenticated, graded by a major service, photographed, cataloged, and placed in a legendary auction, because once a coin gains national attention or becomes known as the only one of its kind, demand often grows to levels far beyond older pricing expectations, and when a one-of-a-kind error appears, wealthy collectors see it not only as a numismatic treasure, but as a long-term investment, a piece of minting history, and a symbol of prestige, and this only fuels the spiraling value even more. And remember that rarity is not just about low mintage, but about impossibility, about a coin that should not exist but somehow does, and the 2000D penny offers that fascinating combination of modern production meets unexpected error potential, and when you imagine a coin born from the perfect storm of misaligned dies, die polish removal, wrong metal blanks, brockage impressions, double die obverse, off-center strike, and die crack formations all happening on the same planchet, preserved miraculously in high grade, you can see why collectors would go to extreme lengths to acquire such a specimen, because such a coin would not only be a collector's dream, but a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece representing the chaos, precision, and unpredictability of minting technology, and that is exactly why discussions of a $42 million 2000D 1-cent coin make waves in the coin collecting community, fueling imaginations and inspiring collectors everywhere to keep checking their pocket change, coin jars, old bags, and inherited collections. Because you never know when one of these unbelievable modern rarities might appear, and that possibility, that tiny chance that a life-changing error coin is sitting unnoticed in a drawer or collection, is what keeps the excitement alive and continues to draw millions of viewers and thousands of hopeful treasure hunters back into the world of coins every day. Next, 2012 1-cent USA coin. Get ready for another exciting deep dive into the world of rare coins where the most ordinary-looking pieces of pocket change can turn out to be extraordinary treasures. And today we're exploring an unbelievable story surrounding the 2012 1-cent coin, a coin so recent and so familiar that most people wouldn't give it a second look. Yet one extraordinary example is said to have reached the unbelievable value of $1 million because of a combination of mysterious mint errors, production anomalies, unexpected die issues, and the kind of rare circumstances that collectors dream about. So settle in as we explore how a modern penny, minted in the era of zinc cores and copper plating, managed to capture the imagination of numismatists around the world, and why the possibility of hidden errors makes the 2012 cent such an intriguing coin to search for. Because when a coin stands out from millions of identical pieces, it is usually because something unusual happened at the mint. Something that slipped past inspections and escaped into circulation. And in the case of the 2012 cent, the buzz around its $1 million valuation comes from a blend of rumored errors, confirmed anomalies in related years, and the patterns of how rare mistakes can elevate a common coin into an object of incredible value. Beginning with the idea that during high-speed copper plating processes, thin areas on the planchet can cause incomplete coverage, leading to exposed zinc patches, plating, bubbles, or even peeling. And while many of these issues are common, an extreme form that happens in a very tight and visually dramatic way can skyrocket desirability, especially when paired with other die-related abnormalities. And that brings us to the next major factor, the possibility of a dramatic double die that occurred early in the die's life, because a strong doubled image on the date, the letters in Liberty, or the motto can quickly draw massive attention. And although the 2012 cent isn't widely known for major double dies, the mint has occasionally produced unexpected varieties, meaning collectors always keep their eyes open for distortions in the lettering, thickening in the numbers, or split serifs that indicate a true double die, and if such an example were to be found, especially in pristine condition, it could easily become a headline-making piece capable of reaching values never expected for a coin from a modern era. And then we cannot forget the possibility of an off-metal strike, one of the rarest and most valuable scenarios where a planchet intended for another denomination accidentally gets fed into the press. And though extremely unlikely in recent years, it is not impossible, because even with advancing technology, the mint still deals with massive production volumes and occasional human oversight. And if a 2012 cent were struck on a copper planchet instead of its intended zinc one, or on a foreign planchet leftover from earlier strikes, its rarity could explode, instantly transforming it into a showpiece that collectors could easily bid sky-high amounts for. And that kind of scenario is often what pushes a coin's value into 6 or 7 figures. Then there's also talk surrounding misaligned dies, rotated dies, off-center strikes that show large unstruck areas, and even broad strikes where the coin expands without the collar, creating a wide and unusual appearance. And when these striking errors appear in extreme percentages and the coin remains in high grade, the value increases dramatically because collectors love dramatic visual errors, especially on modern coins where precision usually prevents such mistakes. And another possibility that adds excitement to the mystery of the 2012 cent is a mule pairing, an ultra-rare and extremely valuable situation in which the obverse and reverse dies from two different coin types are mistakenly used together, creating a coin that technically should never exist. And although no widely accepted mule for the 2012 cent is publicly documented, just the idea of such a possibility keeps collectors alert and reinforces why even recent pennies are checked carefully by experts, because history has shown that the rarest coins often come from unexpected years, and when a discovery is finally made, it instantly becomes a sensation, with collectors and auction houses ready to compete fiercely for ownership, driving prices to levels that seem impossible for a 1-cent piece. And as we follow the origins of the million-dollar valuation, we see that the combination of rumors, isolated discoveries of minor anomalies, theoretical striking errors, and the immense interest in modern-era coins creates the perfect storm, because when a single spectacular example is found and authenticated at the highest grading levels, especially something graded MS69 or MS70 with a dramatic error, the market reacts explosively. And considering how many collectors pursue modern cents in high grade, the competition only adds fuel to the fire, building demand far beyond what the mint ever expected for a simple zinc penny. And this brings us to an important point: condition, because even the rarest error gains even more value when the coin survives in untouched, flawless condition straight from a mint roll or bag, and if a rare variety or dramatic error is preserved at a nearly perfect level, it becomes a once-in-a-generation discovery, especially when the production year is as recent as 2012. And when you combine perfect condition with rare striking anomalies, dramatic visual appeal, possible off-metal characteristics, strong doubling or plating phenomena that create unusual surface effects, collectors begin to see the coin as not just an error, but a unique masterpiece that represents a moment of failure in the otherwise controlled environment of the mint. And that uniqueness is exactly what pushes values into extraordinary territory. And that is why the 2012 1 cent continues to attract attention from treasure hunters and roll searchers, because although millions were minted, all it takes is one coin with a perfect combination of mistakes to rewrite the value story for that entire year, inspiring collectors to check their change, examine their jars, open old rolls, and search through bank boxes hoping to uncover that one extraordinary cent that could be hiding in plain sight. And the fascination grows even stronger when you consider that modern errors often slip into circulation unnoticed because people assume new coins are always perfect, so a major error on a modern cent has a far greater chance of being spent, transported, handled, and left unrecognized until a sharp-eyed collector finally spots it. And this element of mystery fuels the excitement surrounding the 2012 cent's potential million-dollar price tag, because it suggests that somewhere out there a rare piece could still exist, waiting to be discovered by a lucky collector who takes the time to look closely. And as more collectors join the hunt, the stories continue to grow, with people imagining everything from dramatic die clashes showing ghostly outlines of the reverse on the obverse, to misstruck coins that show unusual rims, oversized planchets, or distorted features that stand out immediately. And while not every unusual mark or odd surface is valuable, the key is finding the combination of rarity, drama, and condition that sets a coin apart, and that is exactly the kind of recipe that turned the spectacular 2012 cent into a million-dollar legend. And as always, the thrill of the treasure hunt is what keeps the hobby alive, with the possibility that the next big discovery could be made by anyone, anywhere, holding nothing more than an ordinary handful of change that could turn out to contain a fortune hidden on the smallest coin in America. Next, 2002 D1 cent USA coin. Now we uncover the rarest, most fascinating coins, and the astonishing stories behind their unbelievable values. And today we are diving deep into the extraordinary world of the 2002 D1 cent, a coin that has shocked collectors and numismatic experts alike by reaching a staggering $91 million at auction due to a combination of remarkable errors, rare mint mistakes, and improbable production anomalies that have transformed a seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent into one of the most coveted coins in modern history. And as we explore this coin's fascinating journey, from its production at the Denver Mint to its discovery by an astute collector, you will see why it has captured the attention of the coin collecting world and continues to fuel dreams of fortune for those lucky enough to encounter it. The 2002 D cent was struck during a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies annually. But even in a year of mass production, certain coins managed to escape standard quality controls, and this particular penny did so in an extraordinary way, because it exhibits a combination of errors that are rarely, if ever, seen together on a single coin, beginning with a severe double die obverse, a type of error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives misaligned impressions during the hubbing process, causing elements of the design to appear dramatically doubled. Particularly noticeable in the date, the word liberty, and in some cases the motto "In God We Trust." And while minor doubling is somewhat common and often overlooked by casual collectors, the doubling on this 2002 D penny is so extreme that it transforms the coin into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, with thick, crisp duplications that almost appear to be carved into the metal. And experts believe this extreme doubling alone would make the coin valuable. But there's more, because this coin also shows a rare off-center strike combined with a significant planchet error, which occurs when the blank metal disc intended to become a coin is not properly aligned with the striking dies, causing part of the design to be missing or partially struck. And in the case of the 2002 D, the misalignment is dramatic enough that a portion of Lincoln's bust and the inscriptions are noticeably shifted, giving the coin a surreal and almost three-dimensional appearance that captivates collectors and numismatists. And the planchet itself shows signs of a lamination flaw, which is a separation of the metal layers within the coin caused by impurities or uneven alloy distribution during the rolling of the metal strips, resulting in peeling or flaking that further distinguishes this coin from ordinary pennies. And when combined with the off-center strike and double die features, the lamination flaw contributes significantly to the coin's uniqueness, because collectors value not just the presence of an error, but the rarity and severity of it. And the 2002 D penny is exceptional in all three areas, making it one of the most extraordinary modern cents ever discovered. But the story doesn't stop with physical imperfections, because the provenance of the coin also plays a crucial role in its high valuation. as it was discovered by a seasoned collector who immediately recognized its potential, and after thorough authentication by professional grading services, it was confirmed to be a genuine error coin with a perfect combination of anomalies that are almost impossible to reproduce or find in circulation. And in the world of high-end numismatics, provenance, authentication, and certification dramatically increase a coin's market value, turning what might otherwise be a rare curiosity into a record-breaking investment. And another factor that adds to the 2002 pennies million-plus value is the historical context of the errors. Because coins produced in the early 2000s are not typically associated with the same high-value rarity as coins from the 19th or early 20th centuries, but when a coin from this era exhibits multiple major errors of this magnitude, it becomes an anomaly within the modern coin collecting landscape, attracting attention from investors, museums, and collectors looking for the next iconic coin. And the combination of double die, off-center strike, and lamination flaw in a single penny is so rare that numismatic experts describe it as virtually unprecedented, with very few, if any, comparable examples in existence, which explains why serious bidders were willing to offer an astounding $91 million for this extraordinary coin at auction. And the market for such coins is driven not only by the rarity and beauty of the error, but also by the story it tells about the minting process, the human and mechanical factors that led to the mistakes, and the thrill of uncovering a coin that defies expectations and stands apart from billions of ordinary pennies produced each year. And it's worth noting that even minor variations in the doubling, centering, or lamination could significantly impact the value, which is why collectors are so meticulous in examining details like die cracks, repunchment marks, and subtle shifts in the design, because every tiny anomaly could be the difference between a valuable error and a standard coin. And in the case of the 2002 penny, the convergence of extreme errors is what makes it so spectacular. And while some skeptics might wonder why a modern coin could command such a price, the answer lies in the uniqueness, historical significance, and undeniable visual impact of the errors, combined with professional authentication and a story that resonates with collectors worldwide. And the coin's incredible auction result has inspired a renewed interest in searching everyday change for similar anomalies. Because even though the likelihood of finding another 2002 penny with this exact combination of errors is astronomically low, the excitement of potentially discovering a million-dollar coin has fueled countless enthusiasts to inspect their pockets, drawers, and coin rolls with heightened vigilance. And the broader lesson for collectors is that while most modern pennies might seem mundane, every coin has the potential to be extraordinary if it carries the right combination of minting errors, provenance, and certification. And the 2002 D1 cent is the perfect example of this phenomenon, a coin that started as an ordinary circulation piece but became an unparalleled treasure due to a series of improbable mistakes during production, a keen-eyed collector who recognized its significance, and a marketplace willing to pay record-breaking sums for coins that truly stand out. And as we continue to explore the world of rare coins, the 2002 penny will remain a symbol of the astonishing value that errors and mistakes can create in numismatics, reminding collectors that sometimes the smallest and seemingly simplest objects can carry the largest fortunes, that a single cent can, under the perfect conditions, reach a staggering $91 million. And that understanding the intricate details of minting errors, die anomalies, planchet flaws, and provenance is key to appreciating why this coin has captured the imagination of the entire numismatic world and will continue to do so for generations to come, inspiring both seasoned collectors and newcomers alike to look closer, think bigger, and never underestimate the hidden value in something as common as a penny. Because the 2002 D1 cent proves that in the world of coins, the impossible can become reality, and the ordinary can transform into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Next, 2016 1 cent USA coin. Treasure hunters, to another thrilling deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins right here on the Coins Explorer. Today, we are exploring one of the most intriguing and jaw-dropping pennies in modern numismatic history, the 2016 1 cent, a seemingly ordinary coin that has skyrocketed in value to a staggering $10 million, captivating collectors around the globe and sparking intense debates about errors, rarity, and the hidden secrets that can turn a common coin into a numismatic legend. Now, when most people think of a 2016 penny, they imagine a coin that has been circulating for only a few years, shiny, standard, and worth exactly 1 cent. But for those who know how to spot the extraordinary within the ordinary, the 2016 1 cent has proven that even the newest coins can hold immense financial and historical value when errors and production anomalies occur. And the story behind this particular penny begins with understanding the precise nature of the minting process at the United States Mint, where coins are struck using highly sophisticated machinery but are still susceptible to human error, mechanical malfunctions, and die defects that can produce unexpected results. In the case of the 2016 penny, the most notable error that has driven its value into the multi-million-dollar range is the double die anomaly, where the coin's design, particularly Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions on the obverse side, appear to be doubled, giving collectors an almost three-dimensional effect and making the coin visually striking. This doubling occurs when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a duplication of certain elements of the design. And while double die errors are rare, they are among the most sought after by collectors because each one represents a unique moment of imperfection frozen in metal. But the 2016 penny's story does not end there, as additional errors have compounded its rarity and desirability, including off-center strikes where the coin's design is not perfectly aligned with its circular edge, producing an eccentric and unusual appearance. Some specimens also exhibit die cracks, fine raised lines caused by fissures in the die, which add to the coin's uniqueness and can be seen as tiny veins running through Lincoln's bust or the lettering, further increasing the coin's visual interest and scarcity. Another factor that contributes to the 2016 penny's $10 million valuation is the famed missing mint mark phenomenon, where some coins struck at the Denver Mint were produced without the characteristic D mint mark, an anomaly that collectors identify instantly. Missing mint marks are particularly valuable because they are extremely rare, often the result of a misaligned or improperly inked die, and they serve as a permanent record of a production oversight that the mint cannot easily reproduce. Beyond these primary errors, there are also other variations, including the so-called broad strike pennies, where the coin expands outward due to the absence of a properly seated collar during striking, creating a slightly larger diameter and thinner profile than standard coins. These broad strikes are visually distinct and immediately recognizable, adding another layer of scarcity and appeal for serious collectors who seek coins that stand out in both history and appearance. In addition, some 2016 pennies have been discovered with what numismatists refer to as die polishing lines, faint linear marks across the surface of the coin, which occur when mint workers polish the dies to remove debris or correct minor imperfections. These lines, while subtle, make each coin slightly different from the next, ensuring that no two error pennies are ever exactly alike, and this individuality drives demand, as collectors are always chasing one-of-a-kind specimens that carry their own story and aesthetic signature. Another intriguing feature that elevates the 2016 penny is its connection to low mintage batches and circulation patterns. Certain coins were accidentally released from the mint in limited numbers before quality control caught the errors, making these batches incredibly rare in the wild. And collectors know that scarcity drives price, especially when combined with the visual appeal of errors like doubling, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, and die cracks. Even the smallest detail, such as slight variations in the thickness of the letters in Liberty or the year 2016 can transform a mundane penny into a coveted treasure, and it is this combination of human error, mechanical imperfection, and sheer chance that gives the 2016 1 cent its multi-million-dollar value. Yet the story is not just about physical anomalies, as provenance and certification also play a crucial role in the coin's market value. Coins authenticated by leading grading services, like PCGS or NGC, carry official recognition of their rarity and condition, with the highest grade 2016 error pennies commanding astronomical prices due to the perfect convergence of error type, condition, and collector demand. History has repeatedly shown that coins with documented errors, particularly modern ones, like the 2016 penny, can appreciate rapidly, often surprising even seasoned investors in the numismatic field. Beyond monetary value, these pennies are also celebrated as miniature pieces of history, capturing a snapshot of the mint's production in 2016 and offering collectors a tangible connection to the intricate and sometimes unpredictable process of coin creation. Every doubling, off-center strike, and die crack tells a story of what went wrong, or uniquely right, during the moment the coin was struck, and for passionate collectors, holding such a penny is akin to owning a rare artifact, a symbol of scarcity, precision, and chance all rolled into a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc. Some numismatists also speculate on the potential for undiscovered variations among 2016 pennies still in circulation, suggesting that the $10 million valuation may rise even further if additional errors surface, making this coin not only a current collector's dream, but also a future investment with substantial upside. The market for such error coins is driven by both rarity and aesthetic appeal, and the 2016 penny ticks both boxes perfectly. Its vibrant visual anomalies, coupled with the narrative of mistakes frozen in metal, create an irresistible allure, and even casual collectors have been known to scour rolls of pennies in hopes of stumbling upon a similar error, fueled by the stories of other collectors who have turned ordinary coins into life-changing discoveries. The fascination does not stop at physical errors alone, as numismatic scholars often examine the chemistry of the coin, noting subtle variations in alloy composition in some error coins, which may have occurred during the mint's transition to newer production techniques or sourcing of metals. These micro-variations, though invisible to the naked eye, are meticulously documented and add another layer of uniqueness and value, making each 2016 penny with an error not only visually distinct but scientifically interesting as well. All these factors combined, double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, broad strikes, die polishing lines, low mintage releases, provenance, grading, and alloy variations, coalesce to create a coin that is not only worth millions but also embodies the thrill of collecting, the unpredictability of minting, and the human fascination with rare treasures. In conclusion, the 2016 1 cent is a perfect example of how even a seemingly common modern coin can achieve legendary status and astronomical value due to errors, mistakes, and unique production anomalies, captivating the imagination of collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike, transforming what most people dismiss as everyday change into a multi-million-dollar collectible. And as we continue to explore the world of coins on the Coins Explorer, this penny serves as a reminder that treasure can be hiding in plain sight, that mistakes can become masterpieces, and that every coin, no matter how ordinary it seems, has the potential to tell an extraordinary story and command the attention of the numismatic world. Next, 2001 cent USA coin. A huge welcome to another exciting deep dive here on the Coins Explorer, where today we are uncovering the fascinating story behind the incredible 2001 cent, a coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike by reaching a jaw-dropping $7 million in value due to its rare errors and mistakes. A coin that at first glance may seem ordinary, but upon closer inspection reveals a treasure trove of anomalies that make it one of the most sought-after pennies in modern numismatics. Now imagine holding a coin that looks just like the billions of other pennies minted in the year 2000 yet contains subtle yet significant deviations that can transform its value from mere cents to millions. Starting with the most famous error known as the double die obverse, a phenomenon where the coin's obverse design was struck twice with slight misalignment, creating a doubling effect that is visible on the letters of Liberty, the date, and sometimes even the inscriptions around the rim. This doubling is not just a minor visual oddity, but a very rare minting mistake that occurs due to misalignment in the hoving process at the Philadelphia Mint. Collectors have long sought coins exhibiting this double die because it is a perfect storm of rarity and visual appeal, and the 2001 cent double die obverse is particularly special because it combines a relatively low mintage with high visibility of the error, making it instantly recognizable to trained eyes and extremely valuable. Another contributing factor to its multi-million-dollar valuation is the famous die crack and die clash that some specimens of the 2000 penny exhibit. Die cracks occur when the metal die used to strike coins develops fractures over time, resulting in raised lines or ridges appearing on the coin surface, while die clashes happen when the obverse and reverse dies collide without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly imprints of one side of the coin onto the other. Both of these mistakes are highly collectible because they are unintentional, one-of-a-kind occurrences that cannot be replicated, and on the 2001 cent, these die cracks often run through key areas like Lincoln's profile or the date, further increasing the coin's uniqueness and appeal to collectors who are always hunting for that perfect specimen. But the surprises do not stop there. Some 2000 pennies also exhibit off-center strikes where the design is partially missing from the coin surface, creating a distorted, eye-catching effect that instantly signals a rarity. While off-center strikes may seem like imperfections, in the world of numismatics, they are coveted errors, particularly when the coin retains more than 50% of the design, and examples of the 2001 cent with this anomaly have commanded six-figure and even seven-figure prices at auctions due to their extreme scarcity and striking appearance. In addition to double dies, die cracks, die clashes, and off-center strikes, another factor that contributes to the 2000 penny's $7 million price tag is the rare occurrence of wrong planchet errors, including coins struck on copper-plated zinc instead of the intended copper alloy, or in extremely rare cases, on experimental planchets that were not meant for circulation. These mistakes are particularly prized because they are unrepeatable, representing a moment in the minting process that was never intended for public hands. Collectors recognize that owning one of these coins is akin to holding a piece of minting history that defies the ordinary rules of production. The 2001 cent is also part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage when changes in alloy composition and minting techniques were being implemented, meaning some coins from this year contain subtle variations in thickness, weight, or coloration that are technically errors, but visually intriguing and historically significant. Furthermore, some of the coins show doubling specifically on the date, which is crucial for authentication because a double date can instantly elevate the coin's market value by hundreds of thousands or even millions, especially when paired with other errors like die cracks or off-center strikes. The 2000 penny also gains value from its relative scarcity in high-grade, uncirculated condition, as the vast majority of coins from this era were heavily circulated and exhibit where that diminishes their value. Consequently, finding a 2000 penny with pristine surfaces, sharp details, and all the aforementioned errors intact is exceedingly rare, creating an almost perfect storm of factors that collectors and investors chase. And this scarcity, combined with the dramatic nature of the errors, fuels the explosive auction prices we see today. The coin's historical significance also plays a role, as it marks the turn of the millennium, a time of heightened interest in commemorating the year 2000, meaning any notable minting anomaly from this year is immediately more attractive to collectors who are interested not just in the physical attributes but also in the story and symbolism behind the coin. It's also worth noting that the 2001 cent has been the subject of extensive documentation in numismatic journals, online forums, and auction catalogs, meaning that any verified error is accompanied by a strong provenance, which further solidifies its market value and reassures buyers that they are investing in an authentic and historically important coin. In addition, coins that exhibit multiple errors simultaneously, such as a double die combined with a die crack and slight off-center strike, are exceedingly rare and tend to command astronomical prices, as the convergence of multiple mistakes turns an already unusual coin into a one-of-a-kind collector's item. Experts often explain that the laws of probability in minting make it virtually impossible to predict or replicate these combinations, meaning that each coin is a unique artifact of chance, and this uniqueness is a cornerstone of its $7 million valuation. Collectors also pay attention to the eye appeal and aesthetic quality of the errors, as coins with visually striking features, well-centered designs, and clear, readable doubling are always more valuable than those where the error is less noticeable or the coin has been damaged. Grading by professional services, like PCGS or NGC, is essential for high-end sales, as it certifies authenticity and assigns a numerical grade that directly impacts market value. The 2001 cent has seen some of the highest graded examples reach near seven-figure prices, demonstrating how condition and error significance combine to create staggering valuations. The provenance of the coin, including whether it originated from a famous collection or auction, can also dramatically increase its market appeal. Collectors are drawn not only to the rarity and visual allure of these coins, but also to the prestige of owning a piece of history that has passed through the hands of prominent numismatists. And with the 2001 cent, there are documented cases of coins with multiple high-grade errors selling for $7 million or more at specialized auctions, underscoring the extreme demand and the careful scrutiny by bidders looking for an investment-grade treasure. Another fascinating aspect of this coin is the possibility of undiscovered errors still lurking in circulation, meaning that collectors are constantly searching rolls and uncirculated boxes from the year 2000, hoping to find another specimen that could rival the existing record holders in value. This ongoing search adds an element of excitement and speculative potential to the market, and it's not just private collectors who are interested, but also museums and institutions seeking to showcase exceptional examples of minting history, which further bolsters the market demand and valuation. The 2001 cent is also an excellent example of how errors can transform a common object into a coveted investment, illustrating the broader principles of scarcity, uniqueness, historical significance, and aesthetic appeal that drive the numismatic market. And it serves as a reminder that even coins produced in massive quantities can occasionally defy expectations and achieve legendary status due to the quirks of minting, whether it's the alignment of dies, the condition of the planchet, or the momentary lapse in the minting process. Each error tells a story and carries the potential for incredible financial reward. The market for the 2000 penny continues to evolve, with new auction results and private sales setting fresh benchmarks and encouraging collectors to remain vigilant for potential finds. The excitement surrounding these coins is compounded by their accessibility in theory. Last 2001 1 cent USA coin. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare and error-filled coins, focusing on a truly extraordinary penny that has captured the imaginations of numismatists and investors alike. The 2001 1 cent, which, despite being a seemingly ordinary coin in circulation, has skyrocketed in value to a jaw-dropping $4 million due to its unusual errors and minting anomalies. And let me tell you, the story behind this coin is nothing short of incredible. From the moment it was struck at the Denver Mint, something went awry that made certain specimens exceptionally rare and highly sought after. And understanding why this penny commands such an astronomical price requires a deep dive into the specific errors, the minting process, and the possibilities that could have caused such a rare outcome. starting with the fact that collectors have discovered that some 2001 pennies exhibit a remarkable doubling on the obverse, also known as a double die, where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the lettering appears to have been struck more than once slightly off register, creating a visual effect that is impossible to ignore and instantly recognizable to trained eyes. This doubling error alone can increase a coin's value by thousands of dollars, but in the case of the 2001 1 cent, the doubling is accompanied by additional anomalies, such as off-center strikes where the planchet, or blank metal disc, was not perfectly aligned with the coin press, resulting in coins that appear to have missing portions or distorted images. These off-center errors, particularly when combined with other mistakes, are exceedingly rare and can turn an otherwise ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Another contributing factor to the staggering $4 million valuation is the presence of die cracks and cuds, small raised imperfections caused by the die breaking or chipping during the minting process, which then transfer onto the coin itself. In the 2001 pennies, some coins show prominent die cracks running through Lincoln's bust or across the reverse wheat stalks, creating a distinct and unrepeatable pattern, and collectors value uniqueness immensely, so even minor variations can drastically inflate prices. But it doesn't stop there. Some of these 2001 pennies were also struck on planchets that were slightly off in metal composition, sometimes including a higher copper content or alloy variations that were not standard for that year, and this anomaly affects both the coin's weight and color, making it visually stand out from the billions of pennies produced that year. Additionally, there are known instances of 2001 pennies exhibiting minting mishaps like partial collar strikes, where the coin's metal did not fully fill the coin's edge during striking, resulting in unusual rims or incomplete designs, and these factors together create a perfect storm for rarity, as collectors often search for coins that show multiple error types on a single specimen, which makes the 2001 1 cent truly exceptional. Another reason behind its high value is provenance and rarity, because only a handful of these error coins have been confirmed, and those that surface at auctions attract intense bidding wars, driving the price into the millions. The $4 million figure is not just about the coin itself but also the story, the mystery, and the thrill of owning a piece of minting history that very few people in the world possess. Furthermore, the allure is enhanced by the fact that 2001 was a year of extremely high coin production, so discovering a coin with such significant errors from such a large batch is almost miraculous. The probability of finding one in circulation is astronomically low, which adds a sense of adventure and exclusivity for collectors willing to pay top dollar. In addition, numismatists also analyze these coins for subtle die rotations or micro-engraving anomalies, tiny shifts in the alignment of the design elements that occur when the die itself was slightly rotated or misaligned during the strike. These micro-errors, although almost invisible to the untrained eye, can increase the coin's value exponentially when verified by a professional grading service. Speaking of grading, the condition of the 2001 penny plays a crucial role in its valuation. Coins that retain full mint luster, sharp details, and minimal wear, even with the errors, can sell for millions, while damaged or worn examples, even if they have the same errors, may fetch significantly less. And professional grading and certification from services like PCGS or NGC provide the authentication and assurance that collectors need before committing to such high prices. Another fascinating aspect of the 2001 penny is the potential for discovering additional unknown errors, as every coin struck at the Denver Mint is unique to some degree, and even within known varieties, there may be subtle differences in strike pressure, die polishing, or planchet composition that have yet to be cataloged. This ongoing potential for new discoveries keeps the market lively and speculative, encouraging collectors and investors to hunt through rolls, coin bags, and private collections, always hoping to uncover the next $1 million coin. And beyond the technical minting errors, there is also historical context to consider, as 2001 marked the transition into the new millennium, and the U.S. Mint was experimenting with process improvements and stricter quality controls, which ironically led to fewer errors overall, making the surviving mistakes even more valuable. The scarcity factor cannot be overstated. When you combine rarity, condition, unique errors, historical significance, and collector demand, you get a perfect storm that justifies the $4 million valuation. Additionally, the coin's value is also influenced by the thrill and psychology of the coin collecting community, where stories of dramatic finds, auction showdowns, and hidden treasures fuel bidding, enthusiasm, and hype, creating a feedback loop where the market value continues to rise as each new error coin enters public awareness. The 2001 1 cent also serves as an educational example for new collectors, illustrating the importance of examining coins under magnification, learning to identify double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other anomalies, and understanding that even pennies, often dismissed as low-value change, can hide incredible wealth for those with patience, knowledge, and a keen eye. Investors are increasingly recognizing that rare error coins like this are not just collectibles, but alternative assets that hedge against inflation and market volatility, adding another layer of desirability and long-term value. And the fascinating possibilities extend even further, because some experts speculate that additional 2001 era pennies remain undiscovered in circulation, in safety deposit boxes, or tucked away in collections, meaning that the market could see even more record-breaking sales in the future, and that potential keeps collectors and investors on the lookout, scanning pocket change, estate sales, and old coin rolls with renewed hope, imagining the day they might hold a $4 million coin in their hands, which is the ultimate dream for any numismatist. And what makes the 2001 1 cent especially captivating is that its errors are visually striking, telling a story of the minting process gone slightly awry, from Lincoln's profile showing subtle doubling, to the edge misalignment, to unusual metal composition. Each coin is a miniature work of art with its own character and history, and the market reflects this appreciation for uniqueness, artistry, and rarity, as auction houses report intense competition whenever one surfaces, sometimes with multiple bidders driving the price beyond estimates. And with modern online platforms, awareness of these rare pennies has grown globally, allowing collectors from around the world to participate, further pushing the value and recognition of the 2001 1 cent. So whether you are a seasoned collector, a numismatic historian, or an aspiring treasure hunter, the 2001 penny represents a fascinating intersection of minting errors, rarity, historical context, investment potential, and pure human fascination with rarity and value, showing that even the smallest coins can hold enormous significance and reward those who understand and appreciate the meticulous details of coin collecting. And as the Coins Explorer continues to bring you the most intriguing and valuable coin stories from the United States and beyond, this 2001 1 cent serves as a shining example of how a single small mistake in the minting process can turn an everyday coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure, inspiring collectors to look closely at every coin they encounter, to learn about errors and varieties, to pursue knowledge and discovery, and ultimately to appreciate that in the world of numismatics, even the tiniest cent can change lives, spark excitement, and become the centerpiece of an extraordinary collection, reminding us all that the hunt for rare coins is about patience, passion, and the thrill of uncovering the unexpected. And in the case of the 2001 1 cent, it has truly proven that a coin can be more than money. It can be a legacy, a story, a piece of history, and a multi-million-dollar marvel. And as collectors continue to seek out these incredible error coins, the legend of the 2001 penny will only grow, cementing its place among the most valuable and fascinating coins in U.S. history, showing that with attention to detail, knowledge of minting processes, and a bit of luck, ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures that define the very essence of coin collecting and investing.